It's always that thing, isn't it? It's just awkward
I'm
silence.
waiting. Yeah, I was waiting for you to start this one.
And we hit record and we both stare at it and we're like, who's going to intro?
Yeah.
Welcome back.
This episode, were you about to say the episode number?
No, I was going to say episode 2 of the Joe Hendo
episode
thing.
2.
But it's,
I thought you had like the episodes of all the podcasts remembered.
It's part 2, it's not episode 2.
Yeah.
But I hope you enjoyed last week's or whenever it came out.
And if you haven't watched episode 1, then you should fucking pause now and go backwards.
No one's watched it because it's a podcast, isn't it?
Fucking
I've
hell.
been doing this for months.
Yeah,
months.
well, I've been talking
Most
for fucking years, so...
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, this one we dive in on Fame MMA, what it was like to get absolutely booted in the face by Ali Law, some of the behind the scenes of that entire thing, which Hendo should or shouldn't have mentioned. We don't know yet. But yeah, I guess we'll just dive straight into it.
Yeah.
And the ending's a bit ropey because we then realise this thing's got way too long and also realise we can't record Callum's episode. But deal with it.
Yay.
Let's just fucking snare drum away. We haven't even spoken about the
fucking hottest news.
The real reason why most people will be listening to this podcast, which Hendo's just searched in the kitchen for a drink and come back empty-handed.
Okay, what are you doing?
We'll just wait and I'll
My throat's getting a little dry.
yeah. But I mean, I wonder if we have any listeners who are completely new and have become a fan of Hendo since he beat Ali Law and now are listening to catch up on their fandom. And they're like, what the shit is this that I've just sat through? They've skipped through that.
I
Like,
hate figs so much.
I like figs. That fast forward 30-second thing on the podcast app, and they're like, where are they talking about Ali? Yeah. So I mean, to put it short, this Fame MMA was happening. We kind of covered this a couple of episodes ago. Fame MMA was happening. Harry was meant to do it. Harry dislocated his shoulder, which I personally believe. And then, everyone, all the kids are like, no, he's a liar. Like,
Yeah, of
he then drops out. There was then kind of emails and things going around trying to find a replacement, which you basically kind of stuck your hand up and you were like, well, let's see if I can make this happen. Caused a bit of a social storm with some beef, which is that's fucking what you're meant to do in that sport, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You got to create a bit of beef. And it ended up happening.
I quickly
within
doing it.
within days, it went from 0 to 100,
Yeah.
and then suddenly you're on your train up to wherever it was to do your first
like face to face, yeah.
which I think, as you've said somewhere, and as was quite apparent, looked fucking savagely awkward.
Oh my god, it was.
And I think you said in our WhatsApp that like they just were telling you to be agged up and all kind of like they wanted.
It was interesting though because
Yeah.
then Ali just wasn't.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
this is the thing, and this is what made it even worse. So,
I mean,
do you want to get right into the face to face or
wait? Which there was a sit down table.
This is the sit down at table one.
Yeah,
Do you want to like?
I mean,
what happened to that? That's one I did not see anything of at all.
The one where he threw the water.
Yeah, I didn't see
That's
that.
'cause
I saw it.
I like publicised it as little as I possibly could, given my contractual obligations. So yeah, shall I start with the face to face or like how
Yeah, I mean let's keep it not too lengthy, but so I mean you go up there and you've signed up to this thing and they want you there and
I've managed to just like worm my way in despite not having anywhere near the following of anyone else involved, through connection with like the Storers. They put me forward. Like Drew literally just emailed my contact details because we were out training.
Yeah,
and he was like, I need to.
They
put someone else
asked
forward.
Storer first, didn't they? Yeah.
Because Storer like commented on the post and but then none of the Storers like really wanted to do it, and Drew was like, who should we suggest? And I was out training with them, and I'd already said as like a joke on our group chat, like half as a joke, and I'd I'd be up for it, and I just said to Drew like, put me forward, and he was like, I literally just send an email with your name on it, and that's it, you're put forward.
What initially happened from that though was that wasn't it, right? I swear it wasn't.
No, so then they did get in contact. They called me like that night, or I got a text from Drew that night saying like so-and-so from Fame MMA is going to call you in 5 minutes. And I was like, holy shit. And then had a call with them, and they seemed super keen to get it on and get me signed in and everything. They needed an opponent for Ali. And then it kind of went quiet from them, and I was like, well, maybe I'll prod the beast a little bit. So I posted to Instagram, saying like tagging them in it, tagging Ali Law in it, saying like, you know, put me in a cage with Ali or whatever, like stirring it up a bit. And then they sort of got back to me and said like, Ali doesn't want to take the fight. And I wasn't sure why. They said like they think it's because he thinks you're like highly trained in martial arts and stuff like that.
And
like,
you'll actually hurt him.
You wouldn't, yeah, and you wouldn't. No one would take a fight with like a few days to prepare if they weren't already highly trained.
Oh yeah, I never even thought about that angle.
And then plus like I guess on Instagram, like he doesn't know. I mean he said obviously like in the trash talk and stuff like, yeah, never heard of him before.
Yeah.
Like I don't know whether he'd like heard of me at all, but like he probably didn't know much about me for sure. And like looking at like the picture I posted, I'm like topless and stuff, and obviously I have like abs and stuff like that. Like going from like Nightscape, who's like fit but not an athlete.
He doesn't look kind of muscly.
Yeah. I imagine.
Nightscape's an athlete. Come on.
He's an athlete, but he's not like.
Oh no,
Callum's,
to be fair,
Callum's
actually,
defending
like,
him now.
Nightscape is sick at parkour, but like he's not.
Poor Harry.
Well, I suppose it's more that like Ali knows Harry well.
Yes,
Yeah.
they've done stuff together.
Yeah, so
haven't
I think of Harry as just like a vlogger, but he is actually like a sick mover, isn't he?
No, but you're right. Also, Ali does know Harry.
Yeah,
well.
but he knows him well. He knows
yeah.
like they're like mates and everything.
Yeah.
Like, they know each other. They know he knows Harry.
Yeah.
Whereas me, he just sees like this guy willing to take a fight with a few days.
Yeah.
Like sees what I look like.
You're like,
on
what the fuck's his
Instagram.
angle here?
I'm like acting super aggressive as well. Like acting as if I really do like have beef with him. And I imagine he's like, and he told me later, and like personally, he was like, the only reason I didn't want to accept is because I didn't want to give you a platform to sort of like chat shit about me, basically.
Yeah.
Which totally might be true. Like there might have been an element of intimidation, but also just like this guy seems to really like hate me. Do I want to like put him on a platform to chat all this shit about me in front of, you know, thousands of people or whatever?
Yeah.
But yeah, I kept posting, and then I actually messaged Ali. I messaged him a few times saying like, take the fight, man, like fucking fight.
Gonna kill you.
And then they finally said like, Ali has said he'd rather not fight anyone than fight you. And I was like, fuck, man, like I wanted to do it, like and so I messaged Ali, and I just one last ditch attempt. I was like, yeah, man, like what did I say? I said something along the lines of like, I'd love to do this fight. I could really do with the money as well. Like,
do you send him a voice message? Or?
No, I sent him a text message.
Okay, because that might have been a way to convey a little
Instagram.
less aggression.
Well, I thought about
it,
mate. But then, because he hadn't even like seen any of my messages.
Oh,
like,
okay,
he'd obviously seen, but hadn't like read them.
Yeah.
And a voice message, like he'd probably see
and just
never click on it.
Assume it's you like barking down the
phone. Yeah, exactly. So I sent him, and I said like, I will split a portion of my money with you if you take the fight. And then he messaged me back saying, like fuck it, man, yeah, let's do it. I think what it was, and then he said, don't worry about the money. I'm not a cunt. Like I'm like, yeah, just despite what you might think about me, I'm not a cunt.
Yeah.
Sort of have a good Christmas or whatever. Like, let's do this. And I think what it was is that from that message, he was like, oh, like he has other reasons for wanting to fight me other than like just he wants to hurt me or something like that. Because I guess from that point forward, without realizing it, it must have seemed to him like, fuck me, like there's a guy out there who just really
you were just jumping at a chance to beat someone up.
And in my head, it was like, that's what you do to like hype up a fight, and I thought in my head he'd understand that like if I'm like posting like oh, put me in a cage with this guy sort of thing. But obviously him not knowing me, like it must have sounded
because
like,
I guess if you're both
hell,
UFC like professionals and one of you get booked for a fight and one of you starts chatting shit, you're like, cool, well, this is how we do it.
This is the job.
Yeah. Whereas this was a guy on the other side, like a few 100 miles away, just being like, I want to beat him up. Like, and to be fair to Ali, aside from training, he's never fucking fought before, so it's like, of course he's going to be pretty scared.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to know how much you made? Because in the video,
like
you both say it and then they bleep it out.
Yeah,
Seriously?
Yeah, because Ali's like, I'm giving you, and he goes beep, and you're like, and then matey, man-child, what's his name? Charlie Sloth.
Oh, Charlie Sloth, yeah.
You know, he's the guy.
Yeah.
He's that guy.
Fire in the booth.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, go on, tell the camera how much you're making, and you both go like, and then it beeps it.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, oh.
I don't think I can actually say.
Really?
I think in the contract, like, I'm not allowed to say how much.
That makes sense.
It is not a, like, I feel like it makes it seem like a
It makes it
crazy
seem like,
amount.
because it bleeps. And
some people asked me, like, Chris Harmat texted me. He was like, I think I heard how much you were making. Like, I think I could hear it, but like, how much was it? And I was like, 45 mil. and just left it at that. And I've got like text from Chris Harmat that I just ignored saying like, 45 mil what? Like, what do you mean?
Yen.
But no, it's like, it is nothing crazy, nothing life changing, but very much like current circumstance changing.
Good Christmas.
Well, I was just like, and now that I am like out of home, I'm like paying my own rent and stuff. I get some money from like student loans, but it's not enough to pay rent and stuff like that. So and I was like,
tops up the piggy bank.
My bank balance had just like been dropping to a scary amount where I was like, fuck, I need to like figure something out now, like
got to beat someone up,
and then the chance came along where it was like, oh, I could beat someone up in a cage and
get some money for it.
And it is like, I think it is, so it's not a crazy amount. It is,
but you earn more if you win, or not?
No prize money, just a fee for fighting. It is more than I have ever earned before for a single thing, more than I've ever got for any parkour job. So I can give you some idea. Like, but people probably have no idea, like, how much
more than any other parkour job, it's about 50p.
Right. More than a shout out and some free clothes or something.
Some
like
exposure, So to jump ahead, you then go to this face to face, and they ask you to basically get Aggie, right?
So obviously, from their point of view, the more aggression, the more beef they get,
the more
viewers they get, the more exciting it is. And I suppose also they had two people with their own huge audiences fighting each other. And now they have Ali, who has a huge audience, and me as like, obviously I've have like a following on Instagram. I'm known within a particular community, the parkour community, but outside of that, I'm not known in YouTube. I don't have millions of YouTube
Ali's
subscribers.
fans must hate you.
Yeah, fucking hell. Some of those comments were like that posh wetty. Like,
fuck. That must have been so scary. Thinking about that now.
I stopped reading comments and reading messages from anyone. Actually, because I didn't like hearing the positive ones or the negative ones.
Oh, really?
I decided I didn't want to go into it with any false inflation or deflation of like confidence. I just wanted to be myself. I didn't like hearing messages saying, you're going to fuck Ali up, because I was like, you're saying that means nothing.
Did you feel?
I appreciate the support, but
it does do something up here.
But it does,
You're taking all of that in.
I was reading these positive comments, like, you're gonna fuck him up. He doesn't stand a chance, and I start to feel like, you know what, I am. And then I'm like, that's fucking retarded. Like, he's been training for months. You've been training for days. And then I'd read like comments like, Ali's gonna like break your neck or whatever, like knock you out, and be like, oh man, like, what if he does? And then I'm like, what? Like, just train, focus on that. And then when you get into that cage, do what you know. Like, all this doesn't mean anything, but it clearly affects your mentality. So I just stopped.
When you were training, did you feel confident? In the sense that, I mean, did you have a session with a coach and he'd be like, yeah, that was good, and you're like, okay, I might be alright.
At first, it was like, oh fuck, like, because I have a history of like bits of training martial arts. I sort of grew up fighting with Jay because we wanted to be able to fight and stuff, but it had been a long while, like years, since I trained consistently, and I never trained like seriously, I never competed or anything before. And just the getting back into it, it was like just remembering like how much there is to know and how little I knew, and like it was quite, the first couple of days of training were like probably quite confidence dampening.
That's 2 out of 8.
Yeah, well, yeah. So it's a very weird, quick turnaround on this thing. And then there were some days then where like I started to pick some things up. The last day I had of training, it was like quite confidence boosting, where I trained with Jay the first day, and then I trained with Jay the last day, and the other days I was training with a guy who just runs classes. He's actually a really good like UFC fighter.
Right.
But
Jay could see the improvement.
But then it was like the improvement was ridiculous. Like it was so big, and like just as a role, like Jay was still like, Jay is a much like just like a level of fighter, and he's like
he competes, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's competing and like training consistently.
Should have just got Jay to wear a fucking wig.
Year. Yeah, right. But like, so Jay, it wasn't like I was beating Jay, but he was rolling with me and sparring with me, and he just kept being like, yes, because he was just like, and we'd do a round, and then it'd end it, and he'd just be like, he's fucking got this.
Yeah.
He was so excited because he was like, I was quite worried in like the first day or whatever. I was like, oh fuck, like
you don't want Jay on the last day to be like, mate, I think you'll be all right. Just try it.
So those days really did do a lot for me. But every day that I came out feeling like, oh, that was good, man, I got some stuff drilled in there. Every time it was just like, Ali has had
months of that feeling.
He has.
Yeah.
Like
and you
30 times.
You could see it as well.
You know, whatever. Like, so he's had those days, but he's had shitloads of them. You know what I mean? So everything that you've like just kind of like got drilled in, he's been drilling for months. Like I kept having these thoughts in my head and stuff, which is like, and I'd heard from it, like Harry Nightscape had said, like, don't underestimate Ali. Like he's really been training.
I was fucking impressed.
People telling me like he's been training 6 days a week, and people telling me he is someone who really commits to things he does. He's done some like running type things in the past, I think, some like challenge type things. I'm not sure what the details are, but like, I don't know, some like 10-mile challenge thing, and he's just like gone in and smashed it. Like, he's that sort of person where if he does something, he goes in.
Which is the type of stuff you hear, you're like,
oh, good.
But you could really see it as well as the fight went on.
Yeah.
We were all just like, oh fuck.
He was like,
this
I'm
is
not
not
giving
what
up.
we expected.
Oh yeah, he was good. Like he was really good. And the main thing I think that I was lacking, which I knew as well, because like you can drill technique in 8 days, you can't build cardio.
Yeah.
And fighting cardio is something else.
Yeah.
Something else entirely. Yeah. Oh my god, that was the hardest physical thing.
I mean, you were saying you almost threw up at the end, right?
I was
you did throw
up.
up.
For about 10 minutes. Yeah, I threw up in the cage just as the cameras went away from me. As soon as the fight ended, as soon as round 3 ended, I was like
that kind of like,
got like my stomach tight, like I'm gonna throw up, like I just need to get out of this cage.
Why did you throw up?
Well, then obviously they're like, and the winner, Joseph.
I wish.
I was close. Like I was just, all I could think about was like, just don't throw up. You can see I've got a clip.
Yeah, I've watched it, and like I've just kind of watched you and be like, I can see.
I look like someone trying not to throw up. Like they're holding my hand about to raise it up. Like, Joseph Henderson. You just see me as they say my name. I'm just like,
pulls your stomach a
that
bit.
little.
There's nothing left in there.
That little like pouted exhale is what I call it. Like a little. Just trying, like he's just like focused on not throwing up, and then I'm like, okay, like that's done. Like I'm trying to like smile, act happy. Like, can I get out now? And then Charlie Stoff comes over, like, Hendo, like, how do you feel, man? Like managed to get managed to get some words out, and literally as like the camera pull away to Ali, I just turned and was like, fuck, it's coming. I put my glove over my mouth and just threw up like into my glove. A bit of it spurted and hit Jay in the face. Oh god!
So you just had to throw up all over your glove?
Yeah, I literally just spewed in my glove. I think I kept it quite controlled. Like maybe it sort of like hit my glove and like bounced back in almost. and then the guy who was responsible for like coming up with the ice and water and icing me up.
It's fairly common, I guess. Like,
he like just jumped over and I like threw up into the bucket, and then they just took me out of the cage. And I just got so lucky because it was off camera. And even like I had David Nelms actually and Sasha Powell were in the crowd, and neither of them even noticed.
Oh, really?
So it must have been like maybe everyone's attention was on Ali because they'd just pulled over to him. And I'm just like I'm sure
in the
some
shadows,
people noticed, but it wasn't like as embarrassing as it.
And do they like afterwards? They assess you for like concussion, like
So then I get walked out the cage to the medical room and I'm just like thrown up into a bin while the doctors like asking me questions.
Because obviously throwing up is also a concussion thing, so it's like
yeah. Because
I mean,
he sort of like asks me like I don't know what my name is and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was totally fine. I was just
tired.
I think it was just, so people were saying like it could be adrenaline plus like concussion, like being hit, being shaken.
It's just a lot.
But I think it was
right.
I think it was mainly just the cardio thing. That's what it felt like. It felt like when I was doing the running shit, like doing military training, like there were
when you
times
get to
where
that
I
limit.
almost threw up. And like I have friends who are like track and field athletes, and they have told me about like they'll get to the point in training where they literally throw up.
Like, there are some people who just, it seems to be quite a common occurrence.
And like it's a nut, and I've got really close to it, and it's never pushed past that point where I have actually thrown up before, and that was like, I suppose it's just you don't have a
Fighting
choice
for your
but
life,
to continue. Like I probably any other physical type of activity I've ever done, I would have stopped,
but you couldn't
after the second round.
But
you can't.
You can see it in your face when you were up against, like, I think you had Ali, and you were just proper like getting hit. You were constantly getting hit in the face, and you could just tell you were regaining everything. You were like, just need to fucking stay here for a bit.
It was when you were on top of him and you're like jabbing him in the face. But it
doesn't look powerful, does it? Yeah. And I've heard people like, why weren't you like going in for the ground and pound? And it's like, for one thing, it is kind of harder than it, like, you really get tangled up in something.
Yeah, and they're
because he's trying to stop you.
But also like, and maybe I was like 2 in the moment as well, but in hindsight I should have been like allowing sort of like space, like bringing my arm all the way up and then slamming it down. But just like I'm more tired than I've been in my entire life.
Yeah.
And you can see like these punches are just like trying, but like you can see my hand almost just like is falling onto
You're
his
just kind of like, it's more effort to lift it. You're just
I'm just
there was
totally
an amazing moment where you were like straight teabagging him for like a considerable amount of time.
He was getting sucked underneath.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I was the way I watched it was Sarah's parents were around, so they're watching like Strictly Come Dancing or something, and I've got it on the laptop with one headphone in, listening to the audio, the Polish voiceover, because I couldn't get it on the English one, and like watching, and I kept like laughing and like kind of not gasping, but being like, oh shit, and things. And like Sarah's looking over my shoulder, and you're getting teabagged, and I'm just trying. No,
I'm teabagged.
Ali's trying to get teabagged. I'm trying not to laugh. Like, and I'm fucking. It's the funniest situation.
Yeah.
But I mean, so you got. Wow, there's so many questions. We've kind of skipped over the
we didn't even
face to face.
I mean, the face to face was just savagely awkward.
It was absolutely horrible. That was the first time me and Ali ever met. They kept us apart until we were on camera.
Yeah.
And they told me how to act. They said you have to big up the hype, big up the beef. Like like he's, you're doing it for the parkour community. And I hadn't said that up to that point. And I was just totally like I was on my own up there. I travelled up to Manchester. I was just sitting in my own thoughts all day, apart from when I had people coming up and saying like, "You ready for this, man? Like, this is how you've got to act."
Yeah.
And I just like did what they said, and I totally get like why, like obviously why they want you to act in a certain way. That's like they want this act to be played up,
especially from you, given that like because you don't have the name.
Yeah, and they said
like, Harry had the name.
It's like, it's not interesting, but your name isn't big enough that you're not interesting to people in the same way that like Ali and Harry, 2 people that everyone knows,
and they're kind of friends, so it's like that's interesting in itself.
But it is interesting if everyone who knows Ali, you then have some guy who wants to fight him who's a total dickhead.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, we want to see Ali fuck this guy up, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I reckon that's I was thinking at first like, oh, maybe they like, because Ali acted so calm in the thing, and I like acted how they wanted me to, and they like told me to throw the water over his face and everything. Like,
whereas the fact that Charlie's like, they've specifically been asked to be kept in separate rooms before this, and it's like, no, you've done that, like, because you, like, and I acted how they wanted me to, and even like during it, I realised like what was happening, but it was like I'm literally surrounded by the producers and everything, and I'm like, oh, I feel so uncomfortable, and like the points Ali's making are like totally reasonable points. He says like, your boy like Harry like climbing on jets and stuff like that, and he basically just makes a really good case for like, obviously I'm not the only reason. Exactly, he's definitely a contributor, 100%.
Yeah, 100%
but
a contributor.
He's not the only reason. Like,
and if it had been a normal conversation, I would have said like, well, for one thing, I wouldn't have been in that combative situation.
Exactly,
in the first place, but yeah, I would have been like I wanted to in that moment say like, yeah, no, that's totally fair enough, man.
Yeah,
like, yeah, that's totally true.
Because I could
argue. Instead, like I have to in my head and realize like afterwards, I thought like, you didn't have to, like, why didn't you just act more genuine. And I was like absolutely beating myself up about it. But yeah, like and
it's
they
the
told me to throw the water over him at some point.
Yeah.
And so he was saying these points that I totally agreed with, and I was just like, well, now's the time.
You can see it a bit. You can see.
You did do it at this moment that was not that confrontation. Like, it was a bit confrontational, and then he was like, "Oh, shut up!" Like, it was like, that was an exaggeration.
Yeah.
Like,
and almost because they told me to throw the water, I was almost trying to like build the aggression to a point where the water throwing would make sense. And he wouldn't let it get. So it just looked like me being constantly aggressive and then throwing water over him. And then
I assume the same was for the
and because the points I was making, I didn't even believe like that he was making a good argument for himself. I had nothing to like back it up with because I was like, I'm only saying this because like, like,
and I assume the press conference was a similar story where like you're throwing the fucking.
Well, the press conference was different because when I on the train home from Manchester after the face to face, I almost called them and dropped out of the fight because I was so like distraught about just how that had gone. Like,
because you kind of
It was like I'd played a character that I hated
on fucking social media, pretty much, right?
Yeah, but it's not like a it's reality TV based, isn't it?
Yeah,
so you're playing a character, and all the other people are like Geordie Shore, Love Island, like reality TV people. You're playing a character, but that character, isn't actually. You're not in like a movie or a TV series or WWE where everyone knows it's fictional. The character you're playing is called Joseph Henderson. Yeah, and everyone sees it as yourself. So
because no one's seen you prior.
Yeah.
Like we can watch it and be like, whoa, Hendo's acting weird, but they just go, oh, that's that
and
guy.
Even the people who like know me but don't follow me, whatever, but don't aren't my close friends. Yeah. Even them, like they wouldn't know me well enough to know that isn't really me. Yeah. And so I'm just there like, why have I just done this? Like, that was absolutely horrible. Like I was like, I think I'm going to have to drop out because I don't want to do any more of that. And I don't want that video to ever, like they said they were going to release it the next day. And I was like, well, if I pull out before then they won't release it. Yeah. And so I'm talking that money that I'm going to be getting, I'm like so close to just saying like, I don't even want it. Like, it's going to make such a difference to my situation right now, but I don't even care.
Have you been paid?
Video going out. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that sort of stuff.
I'm just worried that if you start saying stuff like, "Oh, they told me to throw the glass of water," they're going to suddenly.
I am a little bit worried about that.
We can hold off releasing this until the money's in your account.
Yeah, to be fair, could do. I suppose we could release the Callum one first.
Yeah, I just don't want them to retract the payment.
This is honestly something I've been thinking of. I was also like, if we release it before that, maybe just don't put any of like talking about the fight
promo.
The promo things because I imagine like. They won't listen to this episode. No, I did think that coming in. Like, I feel like I'm sure they won't listen to it unless it's in the promo that they hear us talking about. Then maybe they'll be like, oh, we'll check to see. We'll do
the Callum one out first, and then we'll discuss in the next week or so.
Yeah. Okay. The term of like payment in the contract is like short anyway. So it should be. Yeah, it should be all good. Yeah. If we upload Callum's first, then it'll be all good.
So what was it like getting actually kicked in the face?
Oh, that was
he got
crazy.
some fucking solid hits on you, didn't he?
I've never been. Oh yeah.
The press conference, I then went into it saying I'm not going to act how they tell me. They were all telling me you need to make it even bigger. The face to face was okay, but you need to be even more aggressive and stuff. And I was like, no. Like I said yes to them, but I was like, I know I would rather be kicked out, like be removed from this. Like I almost dropped out. I'd rather them say like,
you're not making it big enough.
Because you're not making it big enough than like acting genuinely again. So I went in just being, I'm just going to act genuine. I'm going to act weird rather than aggressive. And that's what I did. And I had so much fucking fun with it. I felt like I was just trolling everyone. Actually, when I frisbeed that thing at him,
the camera cut away. It was really annoying.
What did you frisbeed? They didn't have a name tag for me, so I robbed Andrew Henderson, who's this like freestyle footballer. Yeah. He's a really cool guy actually, but I just robbed his name card like in front of him on the table and just frisbeed it at his head. But that was because I actually kind of like got genuinely a bit angry, like not because I knew Ali was only saying stuff because it was in that situation, but like, I was trying to be like especially non-combative. They were saying like, why do you hate Ali? And I was like, look, like I don't want to. I said I don't want to spread hate because I'm having like messages from kids on Instagram saying like they want me to fuck Ali up, or they want Ali to fuck me up, and it makes me feel really uncomfortable. And that's totally true. Like I don't like. It just felt weird. I was like, I don't want to be spreading that sort of thing. And then I said, like, the reason the fight is interesting isn't because we hate each other, it's because we're like two.
Yeah. And they were like,
and
that's a change of tone.
Everyone in the crowd was like, ah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And then Ali was like, this guy's a fucking twat. And I was like, fuck you. And was like, you made a fucking mistake. Accepting this fight. And then everyone in the crowd is like, yeah. And I was like, oh, right, you're horrible.
What the hell?
We're all scumbags.
Yeah.
He in like this weird kind of Cornish accent was like, "You're lucky I don't bounce that off your head, boy," like that. But
and like I said, they asked me fight predictions, and in the face to face, I'd said what I thought they wanted to hear. I was like, "Yeah, I'll like fuck him up in the first round or whatever," and I was like, "I can't say that in this," and my brain was racing. Like, what can you say?
This was amazing.
Isn't too backing down, but also like isn't combative like that, and I was like, oh. I'll have him in a round that doesn't exist. And a lot of people, like, I guess it's probably a lot of the people there are quite like, I don't know, like reality TV, like Geordie Shore type people are going to be like basic sort of people, I guess. And like most people there seem to think I genuinely just made a mistake and said, and said like thought there were 4 rounds, but yeah, it was just like it was my way out essentially.
Did you just say round 4?
He went, I'll have him in the 4th round, and everyone went, "Hey, dickhead!"
And then I just remained totally straight faced, just like looking back and forth as everyone, like Ali's like, "Where'd you fucking get this guy?" And Charlie Sloth's like, "There's only 3 rounds, mate." And I'm like,
Charlie Sloth. How does Charlie Sloth get to that position?
What the hell?
Being the loudest man.
He's a weird guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, being kicked in the face hurts.
Because I mean, I've never been punched properly or anything. Like, I've had head injuries and stuff, but I mean, that was a fucking boot to the face.
The worst part about that was, and I only found this out a couple of days ago.
It's in between rounds.
Between rounds.
Yeah. Well, that's what I
we
thought.
Shouldn't have even been fighting.
Yeah, because it was because I was watching the clock and
Why
you guys.
that?
So in the first round, these two are wrestling, and they're like, it was all kind of tight, and the clock was like 8 seconds or something, and then I feel like the clock on the screen like disappeared, or I can't remember. Then you got broken apart.
Yeah,
they got broken apart.
We got broken apart. Yeah, with like some time left in the round.
Couple of seconds or whatever.
They thought Ali had kneed me in the balls.
Oh right, yeah, they do that. Yeah.
So they broke it up, sent us back to our corners.
Yeah, so they went to their corners, and then suddenly, oh no, that was it. There was the like that.
Well, the ref stands in front and does that, like, which he does when we start fighting.
Yeah, which he must have just been like...
And as soon as he does that, there's this buzzer.
Yeah.
Which happens, like, at the beginning and the end of the round, I think.
So that was the end of the round.
It was
that
the
was
end.
The end of the round. I thought, obviously, as the ref went like that, there's this buzzer that goes off. Or, like, the ref goes like that, I take a step, and then there's the buzzer.
Yeah.
And they both sprinted, and then Ali just...
Although Ali... I wonder if Ali... didn't have the wrong end, because I run over to Ali, and he actually, like, because I watched the footage back now, he's starting to turn around, so I wonder if
Ali already had people in his corner, right? Because he had a bigger team.
Okay,
so I guess he was starting to acknowledge that, and then
that it was over. But I thought and I think like the guys in my corner had the wrong end of the stick as well, because they said you've got a few seconds left, like as soon as he starts it, just run over and just do as much damage as you can. And then the ref stands between us, and like it seems like the fight has started. I take a step and the buzzer goes off. It's like, okay, yeah, that's the start of the round. And I run over to him. He literally turns and just reactively like puts his foot out, and I just sprint straight into his front kick to the head.
The slow mo is so fucking.
It's an epic thing to do.
You see in the footage, like as soon as the ref like goes like that, does the signal, steps back. And then is immediately like chasing me towards him, and I'm like, well, what did you expect? And then he boots me in the face. We like scrap for a little bit, but the ref's over and just dragging us apart. Like,
wow.
And I'm not sure, like,
but that is
I don't know how many. I don't know if it was just me that was confused, or if the ref was confused too, or what was going on.
Yeah.
But, like, that was the hardest hit that I took.
Oh, for sure.
And
that wasn't for your eye,
needed to take it. I think that was probably what did the eye.
Oh, really?
Full foot, isn't it? So it's
full on foot, just boom, like straight.
And it was, I mean, sick reactions from Ali, and also impressive to get your foot that high, like in a quick.
He was doing a lot of high kicks.
It was at
during
that
the fight.
moment, to be fair. There was, I think, maybe one hit he got me before that, but at that kick was the moment where I was like, oh god, like this is
not going to be.
Because obviously, like I said, my confidence had fluctuated. And, the last thing, oh well, I don't. Shall I say this? I'd seen one of the last things I'd seen was a video that Harry put up in his story of him sparring.
Ali
of Harry sparring, Nightscape sparring, and it was like he used it to say like, obviously I wasn't scared to take the fight, like this is me sparring, taking out a guy who's bigger than me. But the video he posted wasn't even sparring. It was like drilling basically. The guy let him do everything, and he did everything like sort of wrong, in that like he put his head in places where you would just immediately get him into a guillotine and stuff like that. And he deleted it like quite soon after he posted it, I think probably because he had a bunch of people message him
be like, mate, you're fucked.
And but I saw that and I was like, oh well, if that's, and they'd been training with the same person some of the time, and so I was like, oh well, if that's the level Harry was at, then like maybe obviously similar. Harry pulled out earlier, but maybe at that, like maybe I'm good. Like, if that's what Ali's going to do, then it's going to be over super quick. And to be fair, it almost was. If we hadn't had such fat gloves on, I would have choked him out in that first round. He blacked out for a second, he said, but it's hard with those gloves to get a full
I can imagine
out. But that kick to the face, it was like bam, oh fuck, like this is going to be a fight. Like, he's got quite good. Like, I mean, my fears have been realised that like he really is. Like, he's been taking this seriously.
No offense to Harry, but having now seen Ali's performance, I mean, haven't seen Harry fight, but I feel like Ali would have fucking gone for it if it was him. Because I feel like, I mean, like we were saying, Harry is an athlete, but I think you're fucking stronger and fitter, like undeniably. So I just could. Given that Ali is just that not giving up guy, I think he would have done a solid on Harry.
And to be fair, like maybe the time between like Harry pulling out and stopping training and the
could
fight
have been the difference.
Could have made a bit, like maybe Ali was at a similar point. And then that those last like I don't know, that last month or couple of weeks did a lot for him. Like it could be, but Ali was really he was good.
So things afterwards, you've obviously kind of. I mean, it wasn't like there was real beef before, but I mean, you've found a new respect for him, and I obviously never met the guy. Like the stuff I said online wasn't total bullshit, but I kept it like up until the face to face. I kept it kind of just like saying like he's a big reason why a lot of the people had been demonetized and that sort of thing, and then bigging up just like put me in a cage with him, like the parkour community would love to see it, and like so all of that was kind of true. And then it was only in the face-to-face where then I like they were putting pressure on me to say like I'm doing it for the parkour community, and I said that, and then I was like, wait, no, I'm not. Like I'm doing it because I want to do it. And like the parkour community probably want to see it, but then even during, so like after that face off, like we met for the first time on camera, and then obviously the cameras went off, and then I like had to like just go up to him and be like, right, well, nice to meet you.
And then and we messaged a bit in between then, and then like the press conference as well. We met at the press conference behind the scenes as well. So at the press conference, he almost didn't get let into the press conference because he's banned from Canary Wharf. And it was at Canary Wharf.
He had to get a police escort in.
Yeah, he had to get a police escort in. So I arrived at the last minute. So I was like, oh, well, he's not even going to be here, which kind of sucked for me because I wanted to like,
have something to
have. Well, yeah, I wanted to be in a situation where I could kind of redeem myself for acting like such a dick in the face to face, and act a bit more genuinely with him. And then he came in last minute, and I just ran over to him. He was like with some of his friends, and was just like, yo, like, how's it going, man? Like, yeah, like, and said like apologized for the face to face, and we had a little talk about it. And he was like, yeah, they told me to chuck water as well, like, and he was like, obviously, like, I'm kind of more used to it than you are, I guess. And like, I was like, yeah, I just fucking did everything they said, and I was like, what do you want to do in this? I was like, do you want to like chuck some things around? He was like, just do whatever you're comfortable with, man. I was like,
oh, really?
Yeah, so we sort of had conversations about
that's quite cool.
And then we're staying at the hotel during the couple of days before the fight as well, and like we start talking and everything.
Yeah, what's that like, knowing that you're going to have to essentially try and knock someone out, but also spending time with them?
Yeah, it is weird. It's quite weird. It's just this like,
I've never been in that situation where I'm like, later, Keelan, I'm going to fuck you up. Like, But we're still kind of amicable.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I suppose it is just maybe to be fair, maybe kind of similar to competing against your friends in parkour. Like,
but it's physical, so it's
I suppose that does make it.
That's the big
doing
thing.
Something to someone else. Yeah. I did have this weird, almost like third person experience, like out of body experience when I was like teabagging him and like punching him in the face, like and like the fucking pitiful amount of power I was able to generate at that point anyway. But like I was like, God, if I really did hate him, like this seemed like the culmination of all of that process of beef and everything, of like I'm now sitting on him and his face is there and I can just go
fucking lame.
But there was no emotion behind it. And so it was just totally emotionless, and it was just like his. And oh god, it's weird. It's so much more personal than you can ever like
get
the sense
close,
of from like watching it on TV or live or whatever, because you're there, you're with them, you're like skin is touching their skin, and like and you can like I can hear him like wheezing as I'm like pressing down his throat. You can hear him breathing like, and his face is right there. Like the only thing you can see is just his face.
But there's not that drive of like,
and it's like, and he's trying to hurt you as well. So it's like,
and you're locked in a cage with someone, and they're trying to hurt you, and the only thing you can do to stop them is hurt them more. And
or tap out, which you'd not gonna do.
I feel like in both of our heads, like that just isn't an option unless like, you know, unless it comes down to
death is coming.
Whatever, you know. And so there was no emotion behind it. It was just like there's a face there, and I know that what the job is. The job is just like, put my fist into that face, and it was just this robotic, just like it almost looks robotic in the video. I'm just like lift up, bow into the face,
just keep going.
And then and then as soon as it was over, it was just like hugging and just like because obviously there was some reservation, I suppose, before. We were being amicable, we're being friendly with each other, but there is that weird thing.
Like, is he actually going to fucking snap?
We're going to kick the shit out of each other in a couple of days, sort of thing. So there's only... And I suppose you're maybe subconsciously trying to get the mental upper hand, so you're still trying to sort of like act a bit, like not be totally genuine in your conversations with them and stuff. But then as soon as it's over... For one thing, it's over. You know, you don't have that weight hanging over you. But also, you've just both gone through this like crazy, intense like experience. And even though you two are the one that's been inflicting this like trauma on each other, also each of you is the only other one that went through it.
So
it's like you just shared this crazy experience.
Because you never see it, do you? You never see.
Yes, man. He comes into the medical room and I'm like throwing up into the bin. And he's like, "You good, man? You good?" And I like managed to stand up and like, man. We like get a picture together. We're just like,
because it's kind of
smiling.
There's no pressure after that, is there?
Yeah.
I can imagine the weight off your chest being like,
it's done.
Oh,
it's
gone and done.
Like I was saying, like forever now. Like that's just one ticked off the bucket list for both of us. Like. Remember that time we fucking fought in a cage
in front of thousands of
people.
Would you do it like if they said next year like, oh, let's bring Hendo back? What would you do?
Yeah, I think I'd do it.
You would.
Directly after the fight, I was like, I'm really glad I did that. I never want to do it again.
Yeah.
And then the next day, I was like, maybe I'll do that again in the right circumstance.
It's like giving
now
birth.
I'm like thinking about things that like I could have done, and like thinking what I could do with more training. Like that was 8 days. Like what if I had like months to train and like
you could do that Andrew Henderson pick up and beat down.
Did
you get to watch the fights in the build up, or are you just in your own head? Like
I watched some of them happen. Andrew,
that was amazing.
Yeah, I think, and it's weird. Like a lot of people have said, and a lot of trained like people who were there who were like UFC or ex-UFC fighters and stuff. Like everyone seems to think that our fight was like the best fight, which is crazy.
Yeah, we didn't watch any after yours, but out of the ones we watched before, like yours was easily the best. That felt the most real.
Yeah,
I think so too.
I think maybe all the other ones there was an imbalance of dedication or something.
Yeah.
Or like
what? Because
that's why they were over so quickly. Like
there
Andrew,
was always one that was a lot
I can't
better.
remember the other guy. The guy who was fighting, but like there's a reason why Andrew picked him up
and just scooped him,
dropped him on the floor, and then just was laying into him, and it was over within a few seconds.
If you'd had two Andrews together, probably would have been the best fight of the night, because they were obviously. He's trained for years, but it was like every other person who lost would kind of go, I didn't really take it seriously. I've been down the pub every night, like that, and you're like, well, that's why the fight was shit. Like,
I think with me and Ali, you just had, which I kind of said in the press conference,
it was the mentality,
you just had two fucking weird, like persistent minds going against each other, where both of us are just like, and you could see it in his eyes, like I could see in his eyes what I feel in my mind, just like backing down is not.
Well, especially
when I say
given
it's not an option, like it's not even. You don't. It's just you have the job to do. Is like
You're not gonna do it. There's just
win.
no.
Like backing down isn't.
Yeah.
Like, that's not.
and his
that's not
fan
part
base
of
is a lot more hardcore. Like his
Yeah.
following is a lot more like Ali will win. He has to
Culty.
win. So I can
Yeah,
imagine
right.
that gets on your shoulders. Like you
Yeah,
feel that a
I'm
lot
sure.
more.
Like you
so.
feel the pressure of that, and the entire stadium was like, or
Oh,
anyone
you
that
could
was
hear it.
chanting for Ali. Like,
Ali.
I was
Yeah,
fighting
yeah.
to just the droning sound of Ali.
Yeah,
Ali,
yeah, yeah.
and it was weirdly like meditative. I was just hearing the name and seeing him in front of me, and it was
You're
almost
like, yes,
like,
this is who I will kill.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like that. It was
That's
like, yes,
interesting.
that is the person
Yeah.
that
Cool.
I'm here
Did
to
you-
hurt.
did
Like,
you
I would have thought that'd put you off completely.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. It was just like, yes, Ali.
Did you clock the bit where when they lined you up on the stage at the
I
start?
really want to know about this. What
And
the
they-
fuck happened?
They lined you all up, and then they called out the names, and the camera kind of zooms in on each person, and they went, Joseph Henderson, and the camera just zoomed in on one of the female competitors.
No way.
Yeah.
Did you not know that?
I laughed out loud so fucking loud. Like in this quiet room, we're
They
watching
showed
stream-
every single one, and then we were waiting for that moment. I think we might actually have it on video. We filmed it on
Oh,
like,
really?
the Handycam. And we were waiting for that moment. We were like, yes, he's going to be there, and he just wasn't you.
That's
Yeah,
so
they just
funny.
they just filmed one of the
That's
girls
so
who obviously
funny.
she didn't kind of pose or anything because she didn't.
She
think
didn't
it was,
know.
Like, but the camera was just
So it was
looking
just
at her,
like-
and she's just like.
But you weren't shown at all. There was no other
way.
mistake to
Yeah.
show you. It was just you weren't there.
That's
We're
probably
like,
quite
what?
good because I had no idea what to do with myself when I was up there. But
Yeah,
that's so
people
funny.
going like,
Yeah, because I was just this last minute
Yeah.
replacement.
Well, that was- yeah,
no
actually-
one knew of either. Like the press conference, I didn't have a name card. That's why I had
Yeah.
to rob someone else's to launch and everything. Like
that's
yeah.
insane.
Because I was writing notes on my phone of like just in case there was sort of good talking points, and everyone up until the mishap with you, the person to the camera had kind of gone like had done like fake punching and things, and I was assuming you would then either not do that or do the same thing, and I was going to ask like, did they ask you to do a and then it just showed this
yeah.
girl, and I was like, oh,
There we go.
okay. Yeah,
They asked you to be the woman.
yeah.
Yeah, no, they didn't give any like. Oh no, they said sort of. They said like, yeah, you can do some punches or
Yeah.
whatever. Like they didn't really give any proper guidance.
All right. Well, we're now at 2 hours 30. So we
2 hours 30.
30.
We are actually like,
We've excelled this. So let's wrap this up because we might even have to split this into a two-parter. I don't really know I don't know if long length.
We've gone this far, and he hasn't even done a music minute. That's
I
mad.
know.
oh fuck, music minute.
Yeah,
We
Hendo,
fucked
Hendo
that off.
doesn't
We
like,
can't do that anymore.
Hendo doesn't like music minute. So last question. Like,
This is going to be the first podcast where you don't just ramble about music.
yeah,
for
we're
the
gonna
last
finish
10
it
minutes.
aptly just
Just
after
give.
We
this.
do. It's
Remind you that the place that Joe needs to go at 6
Is
is
this-
where I'm also going at 6.
I'm very aware of
Oh,
this.
shit.
So the issue at hand that I was going to speak to Callum privately
It's
off of there
5:30.
is that it's 5:30 and that Callum and Joe both need to go somewhere at 6. So we might not get a Callum podcast. But let's finish this and then we'll discuss. Moving into 2020, it's the end of the year, it's Christmas, etc. We don't know when this is now coming out. Aspirations for the sort of the year ahead, but also like, let's say Hendo in 5 years' time, like where do you want to be and almost where do you want to see parkour? Because that's kind of your lifeblood at the moment and you're the main thing. So
And
like,
if you can include with Storm as well, because I quite like. To
yes,
know the
yeah, good
direction
point
of that.
actually, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So in the next year, literally pushing. I feel like I'm living an incredibly multifaceted life right now, and I'm loving it. Like every second of my day is filled up with something different, like different tasks. I wake up every day and I've just got a shitload of different stuff I have to do, like study or write a paper or train or create some video or plan like a tour. I'm doing a tour of the US
Oh
next
fuck,
month.
we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
I didn't even
3
know you were doing
hours.
that.
Tour in the US and you're doing gym, like coaching in gyms, right?
Yeah, doing workshops and jams at a bunch
Just
of gyms
you?
around the country. Just me.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds epic.
And yeah, this is pretty much the point. So one thing that like I feel like is a lesson I've learned recently and is something that I would like to share is that
Oh bloody hell.
yes.
Sorry, I ruined that.
No, but is that I suppose the idea that taking on more things seems to have almost given me more time to do more things.
Yeah.
And I've had times in my life where I've felt like I've had this dichotomy between like feeling like, I want to give this thing up so I can do this other thing. And my most recent approach to life has been like never trying to give anything up, but seeing something I want to do and just piling it on top of the things I'm doing.
Yep.
And somehow like it hasn't overwhelmed me. It's forced me to adapt and like become better at doing stuff and become more productive. But it's somehow, I think that like way in which it makes you adapt actually gives you more time, or like the tools in which to take on more and more things.
And it channels the focus, right?
Yeah, exactly. So like,
that's actually
even
quite
though I'm
helpful,
like trying to do parkour and trying to prepare for a cage fight and trying to get my essay deadlines in like all in the same week and trying to plan a US tour, it like you'd think like I'd have less time than ever, and I do, but
you use
none
that
of the
time.
None of the
there's
time is
true
wasted
purpose
anymore.
there,
There's
Do you time block? Like, are you like, I'm doing an hour of this?
Yeah, I started time blocking.
Yeah.
So like
That's what I've heard is really good.
I'll edit for 2 hours and no more and no less a day, or study for a certain amount of hours, blah blah. Like, yeah, it's super helpful, and yeah, it just seems to open up time to do as many things as you want, basically.
Yeah. Have you listened to the podcast with Davis and Marlon from Woodward?
Yes.
Because Davis talks about a very similar thing where he moved from Boston and sort of considered himself busy in Boston, and then moved out to LA and sort of had to get a secondary job and things, and was like, I'm not going to have enough time to do these things. And then
Wait, when was that podcast released?
It came out this summer.
I had one with Marlon, but I don't feel like
we didn't do one with Davis.
Davis did one with Marlon.
At
Woodward, and
he
he talks about a very similar.
Their own podcast.
Yeah.
No, so I heard Marlon on yours.
So Marlon
I
he recorded one with Davis, and they talk about a very similar thing. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's a very similar kind of like, it's you add more in, but it just refines what you were then working on.
Yeah. So like, you think going to uni I'd have less time for everything else, but I'm like pushing more with everything else than I ever have before. So yeah, in the next year, pushing everything, trying to excel in all the things I'm doing, like parkour based and other. I think I'm going to be doing more stuff independently as well. Not moving away from Storm, but like I said, just putting more on top. So like with Storm, we're focusing on doing less consistent, but just like doing projects we're really proud of. And what I'd really like my ideal for Storm would be to do trips where we do make like Madrid videos essentially, but in different locations. And then also record more like behind the scenes content as well, so be making that sort of thing, and just like, because those are the best
really
times and the
that.
videos
That'd
we're proud
really
of,
cool.
and the ones that give the most progression, and like Madrid seemed to make such an impact on the community as well, and and like in terms of views and stuff, it's like our most viewed one, and like it wasn't even like, it was only 10 days, and then a simple edit, like relatively short turnover edit sort of thing. And yeah, it's the main thing blocking us from doing that, I think, is just people, each of us being busy in our own ways, and money. Like Storm isn't really making money to put into projects and stuff like that. So it's hard to like, paying for flights for everyone is hard. But if like, I think a lot of us would just be happy to pay our own way and just I'd love to do more stuff like that. So I think with Storm, doing that.
What about clothing wise?
Clothing, pushing to just make the clothing, just keep basically pushing it in, like, to shape the image that I sort of want for parkour. Like it seems to be, I can have creative control. Kai will like, Kai's pretty good and industrious, and will sort out clothing and I can be involved totally and sort of take control if I like, or I can take a step back. And I would like to just work with Kai and try and just shape it basically to like the kind of stuff that I like, and just my style, and hopefully that will sell well as well.
But
mainly just so make sick clothes and make sick content. And then with my own stuff, doing this tour, I got some doing this tour, and I started a YouTube channel because I actually like had to as part of my contract for the fight, like post
Oh,
a
really?
YouTube video to
I didn't realise that.
either Storm, Stora, or my main YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so
It's obviously going to do, yeah.
So what do you get?
And,
3 views, like.
yeah, it's got like I've got like I think I've got 64 subscribers now. Maybe.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, and I've started just recording random daily stuff, like just talking and things like that. And
Oh, really?
and I think I'm going to try and upload consistently. Like I've kind of said on it, like I'm no idea. It's going to be fairly just like whatever the hell, everything and anything. I'm just going to post to it and see where that goes. But just do as much as possible, really, and do more like little projects like this tour and just see how much I can push myself as an individual. I'd like to do a trip that's more like outdoor content based as well when the sun comes back out. If the sun comes back, the money from this fight is like perfect as well for enabling me to actually be able to do these projects that I want to do. But like, I really want to go somewhere like Seoul and do like rooftop stuff basically and push myself in that way. Just make all kinds of like really stylistic like content and then vlog and everything and then pushing with uni and things as well. In 5 years, God, I want to be.
I mean, think you 5 years ago was kind of that was prior to
18, so that was like leaving college
just before you start to blow up. So it's like you could be anywhere.
That was 5 years ago.
That's crazy. Yeah,
close to my age. No, kind of. That's crazy. Wow.
I mean, if you haven't got like, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah,
specific.
I guess like
I guess it's aspirations rather than.
If I push everywhere, I suppose I'd be probably doing a master's in psychology. I will have competed in the Olympics in parkour, maybe a medal. And I will have. Storm will be. Either Storm or myself personally, or ideally both, will be at a point like as a brand where it's sustainable and or very least sustainable along with some other things, and just creating cool shit that I'm proud of and is like shaping the culture of parkour, and parkour itself just like keep going the way it's going, but just bigger and bigger, basically, like just seeing this culture like spread and grow in the way that it has in the last 5 years, like that again would just be fucking so cool. It's the culture of it that I think I'm most excited about in the future, like the just way to see that expansion. The culture seems more and more like I suppose it is just being created almost, like the culture is just becoming more and more of this solid thing where like you know what a free runner looks like style wise and like there's certain little niche things about people who do parkour that like there really is a culture behind it, and like just seeing that continue to grow and develop is like I want to be a part of that.
You've got a good brain for that. I think it would definitely help if you're continuing with Fig and you're going to change it for the better. You're a very good person to be doing that. Do you know what I mean? Like you've got the right brain for it. So.
Hopefully, like I guess I have like ideas about the kind of thing I like to see in parkour and like where I'd like to see the culture and style going, and hopefully that is like it's why shared by other people, I guess.
It's why you're studying what you're studying as well. If you think it all kind of links. Kind of, isn't it?
He's a clever lad.
You are.
Amazing. All right, well, this has been a gargantuan one.
Have we done 3 hours?
No, 2:42.
Poor Callum.
We could go for another 18 minutes.
I have just realised
we're in Callum's house and we basically stolen his house just so we could do a podcast with Hendo and then leave him in the fucking dirt.
He sat in silence, laughing at his phone and lifting weights in the corner. I have just realised we could actually split this in half. Because the first half
doesn't have anything about
the fight, so we could put out the first half sooner. Maybe like we could record an intro and outro. I don't know why I'm voicing this on the podcast, but and then we can release the second half in a week or so when we know a little bit more.
Yeah, true.
If you check the contract or whatever, so that's an option. But anyway, let's wrap this motherfucker up. Thank you very much, Joseph.
No, thank you. It's been a long time coming.
It has. It
really has. I'm glad that
we've covered a lot
for the right amount of time that it should. I mean, you're 15 minutes shy. 17 minutes shy.
17 minutes shy, but you're also 21 minutes shy of leaving to go to your event.
No, I meant to be there. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. So let's knock this thing on the head.
Oh, fuck me.
If you've enjoyed this,
It's
Ali
also
Law
at
fans,
least like 40 minutes away. So.
oh bloody hell.
Fuck.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Ali Law fans, if you've enjoyed this, please subscribe and share. Hendo fans, if you've enjoyed this, please subscribe and share. And yeah, thank you very much for
Thank
listening.
you very much.
If you're in America, then have a look and see what my tour dates are going to be.
Yes.
If you want to see my
idea.
new YouTube channel,
I want to see
it's
it.
probably it's just Hendo, but it's probably so small at this point that like you won't even find it if you search.
That's good that you got Hendo.
Well, you
No,
can just
YouTube you can have anything.
Oh, yeah,
YouTube.
yeah,
It's
okay.
probably like.
What's
other
your
Hendos.
Instagram?
Joseph.Hendo.
Be cool if it was just
I'll
Hendo,
link
wouldn't it?
everything through
Yeah.
Instagram anyway. So you
Beautiful.
can buy my new book.
Oh.
Hitting bookstores.
Yeah.
In March. I
What's
feel
it-
like podcast. You should need to come on and sell a book.
What's your
Always.
book?
There's always a book at the end.
What's your book called?
It's called The Life and Times of Giles Campbell Longley.
Good. Written by a stalker. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Wicked.
Fuck off.
2 hours 45. You have smashed the record, you bastard. All right. Bye. Love you.
Love you. Bye.